Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, here in the Midlothian region of Scotland. And of course, as everybody should know by now, Scotland is the capital of Britain. It is the capital of Europe. It is the capital of the whole world. It is the capital of the solar system. It is also the capital of the entire galaxy, and also the neighbouring galaxy Andromeda, which, by the way, we just acquired last week. And, of course, other neighbouring galaxies will be swallowed up into the glory that is Scotland. That's probably the best one I've done yet, by the way. And I did not prepare that at all. That was just totally improvised right there, just for you guys, because you are my wonderful, loyal subscribers. And you are the people crazy enough to watch this show every week. So thank you very much. And I'm very glad that you are here. We got 15 people here just now. So we've only got 6 likes, so it'd be nice if you guys would just be so kind as to hit that thumbs up button and get those likes up to parity, so we've got the same number of viewers as likes. That'd be really, really cool. I like it when that happens, so please do hit the like button if you like what I do. Even if you liked last week's show, then please do the same. It is ridiculously hot here in Scotland at the moment. It is 19 degrees Celsius at midnight. It's bonkers how hot it is, and the humidity is like 98%, which is 2% down from last night. So it's ever so slightly more comfortable, but only ever so slightly more comfortable than it was last night. Last night, my gosh, it was nearly impossible to sleep. So but, you know, we have to make do. We are under a severe storm warning for heavy thunderstorms. So it is entirely possible that this show might get interrupted by some thunder. But we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully not, but it's possible. So just to give you the heads up, you know, if the show does go down and you get buffering and all sorts of other kind of interruptions, that will be what it is. It's due to the weather playing havoc with everything else. So hopefully not. But yeah, we will have to just play the show by ear. So please do get your Studio One orientated, as we say over on this side of the pond, which is actually more grammatically correct. I like winding you guys up. Yeah, please do get your Studio One questions into the chat if you've got questions regarding mixing, mastering, recording, and all that fun stuff, and using virtual instruments. Whatever your questions are to do with Studio One, please do get them in the chat, and we will get this show rock and show. I said show. My gosh. Yes, I did live in southeast London for 12 years, and it has marginally messed up my accent just a wee bit. But so yeah, get your questions in, folks, and we'll get this show on the road. Let's go see who's here to start with, like we normally do. Billy Morgan was absurdly early, like nearly 4 hours early, which is bonkers. Tony Stringer is here as well. He says, I'm not sure that I'll be awake at 2 a.m. tonight, but I'll watch tomorrow. Tony, if you're watching this on the replay, hello, good to see you. Thank you for dropping in and posting that comment. I appreciate it. I hope you managed to get at least some kind of good night's sleep. I don't know what weather is like over in Europe, but right now, certainly here, it's not nice. It's very uncomfortable. So yeah. Please drop a line to me, Tony, if you get a chance. If you have like any questions that result from this show, then please do drop me an email. And we got Ron Figura here, and we got Clyde Kelvin. Hello, Clyde. Welcome to Sunday Night Live. I am glad you're here, and I believe that you are a new subscriber. So thank you. I really appreciate your subscription. I've got a whole bunch of shows that we've done in the past. I've got like 300 shows that you can go check out. If you want to binge watch, they're all around about an hour long, so it'll take you a wee while. But if you want to binge watch Sunday Night Live or the 25 or so Songwriting Simplifieds that I've done on this channel, then by all means, please do that. That would be cool. If you would like to do that. Plus, there's a bunch of other Studio One content on here as well, and mixing tips and all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, please do peruse the other videos. I would appreciate the views, and I'm hoping that you would appreciate the content as well. So let's see, we got Rich Cresswell here as well. We got Ambient Dave, we got Mike Johnson from Music to Motion. We have got Juan Ignacio Weissman is here as well, and we got Stephen Wilson here, which is great. He's becoming a regular, which is awesome. Thank you, Stephen. Glad you're here. And we've got Bobby Booth, which is great because Bobby has been here since the start, so we can start the show now. And we've got Don Oliver here as well, and we've got Andy Arthur. Andy, my good friend, I am very glad that you have dropped by. I have not seen you or heard from you in quite a long time, but thank you very much for dropping by. I hope you enjoy the show, and I'm glad you're here. Andy is an audio engineer. He does a lot of live sound stuff, but he does mixing, mastering as well. He has a fantastic home studio facility, and he sells gear as well, I believe. I don't know if you still do that, Andy, but if you do, that's awesome. And he is a big proponent of the Studio Live mixers as well, which is cool. And we got Dave from Bops NY is here as well. He says, hello, JL and others. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm not doing too badly. Thank you, buddy. And we got Paul Morgan here as well. And I think we just got down to the bottom, which is cool. Oh, there you go, Paul. Yes, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Clyde/Paul. I appreciate that a lot. That's cool. Thank you. All right, so let's see. Do we have any questions? We don't as yet. Oh, Rich is saying Halloween cough cough. Yes. This is kind of more for the other show, the Songwriting Simplified show, which is on Wednesdays. But I should let you know about this now, seeing as time is kind of ticking on a wee bit. But Halloween is fast approaching, and Rich and I have been talking quite a bit together, and we have decided to put together a songwriting challenge for you guys. So if you are into songwriting, doesn't have to have lyrics, it could just be an instrumental. If you want to put lyrics to it, that's even better, but you don't have to. And the cool thing about this little challenge is we've got some set parameters that will hopefully make it easier for you, so that it's not such a broad, big idea, big concept. Hey, write something really, really spooky. Because if we just say something like that, then the concept is too big. So we've kind of broken it down a wee bit, and we've given you a set of notes from a scale called the B. Locrian Natural 6 scale, which is a little bit of a spooky sounding scale. And so it should hopefully result in some very interesting sounding music from you guys. You can write in any style you want. Doesn't have to be popular music. It could be kind of like a TV theme style music if you want to do that. It can be anything you like. The sound palette, choice of style, all of that stuff is entirely up to you, what you want to do with it. But we're going to give you some set parameters, a set scale that you can use. You can derive the notes for the melody, the bass line, and the chords from that if you wish. Plus, we'll also give you some chords that we know fit with this particular scale that you can use as well. Needs to be 90 seconds long. So we're not asking for a massive, 10-minute prog rock anthem or anything like that. No, we're only asking for 90 seconds. It needs to have a clear start, middle, and end. And that's pretty much the criteria for it. The cool thing about this challenge is you will be rewarded. Yes. Pretty much Rich and I, we will listen to the results. So yes, you do have to publish your work. So what do we mean by publish your work? Put it up on SoundCloud or send us via email an MP3. And Rich and I will go through them and we will listen to them. And on a particular show, the closest show to Halloween, which is going to be a Songwriting Simplified show, which will be on the 27th of... No, hang on. Let me go into October. I was looking at the wrong month. The closest one... okay, we'll do this on the Sunday. We'll do this on the Sunday Night Live, actually. We'll do this on the 29th of October. All right? So that's like... because the Halloween is on the Tuesday. So we will do this on the Sunday, the 29th. And we will use that show to play as many of your pieces that you submit as possible. And from those submissions, Rich and I will pick the scariest. The one that spooks us the most, or the one we think really does fulfill that spooky kind of brief and uses the scale and, you know, creates the most interesting piece of music and, you know, totally freaks us out. And there will be a prize involved. So there is the possibility you could win a prize here. So think about that. Think about the fact that you could get something for free here if you submit a really top-notch piece of music. Like I said, 90 seconds long. And all you got to do is email it to us. So you can go down to the website down below, jonnylipshamstudios.co.uk, and there's a contact us form, and you should be able to attach the MP3 to that contact form. And yeah, we will collate all of your works, and Rich and I will listen through to them. So you will need to submit your works. Let me go back over to October again. So we will do the we'll devote the show on the 29th to it. So you need to have those submitted to us no later than Friday the 27th. So Friday the 27th is your absolute cut-off point for submitting a piece of music. And then that gives me and Rich, that gives us the weekend to kind of listen through to everything. And then, as I say, on the Sunday Night Live, we will hit the ground running, and we will devote the entire show to playing your pieces of music, and we will announce the winner on that show. So if you are cool with that, then that's going to be how the challenge works. There will be more details, and the brief itself will be announced on the Songwriting Simplified show on Wednesday. All right, so if you are interested in taking part in this, then join me on this coming Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified, and Rich and I will go through the brief, and you will find out exactly what scale it is, what chords it is, and all of that fun stuff. I will get Rich on the show via Skype if he's available, and we'll go through all the details so you know exactly what you're getting yourselves into, and we'll tell you what the prize is going to be for that. So that's the details of it. So be thinking about it. Be thinking about it. It's a fun little challenge, and I like to throw out challenges. And so this is going to be the first of many challenges. We've done the December 10th challenge a few years back. We did that, 4 years ago? So we're going to do a few more challenges. My plan is to do at least one challenge per year. Now, that doesn't mean that there is going to be a prize every time we do a challenge. Not necessarily. But on occasion, there might be. On occasion, there might be a prize if that can be done. But it's otherwise going to get kind of expensive to do a prize every time. But there will be challenges where it really is just the taking part that counts. I mean, pretty much every challenge, that's the case. You know, the taking part is what counts. And the actual, you know, getting creative and making music, that's the point. So even if you don't win anything, you've still had a chance to have your music played. You've created something, you've had it played by us, and, you know, we will provide some feedback and some analysis of your piece as well. So you will get all of that. Dave says, I won't be able to make the Wednesday show. Will you post this, please? Yes. Yeah. there will be a little bit more of an announcement. I'll put this up on the community tab of my channel. So you'll get to see all the details before Wednesday, if you're not able to make the show. But you will be able to watch the replay as well. So even if you're not able to watch the show live, you'll be able to get to see the replay with all the details as well. And as I said, I will put the we've got a nice graphic that Rich has very awesomely and very kindly made, and that will go up on the community section of my channel. So you need to be subscribed to my channel, and most of you are. So being that most of you are, then yeah, just go into the community section and you'll see the post there that with the nice graphic that Rich has very awesomely sorted out. So you are covered whether you are able to be there or not. All right, so let's see. Dave has a question. He says, how can I transfer all my mixer settings, for example, EQ, compressor, etc., across my templates? Well, here's the thing with templates. One thing you can do is you can save effects chains. So if you've got like effects chains that you use all the time, like you always use one particular EQ, you always use one particular compressor, then you can create effects chains, and then you can store them in the effects chain section of the effects tab of the browser. And then when you create a new template, you can populate all of the channels in the mixer as you're creating that template with all of those effects chains. And then you save the template, and then every time you load the template, it loads all of those plugins. If those are the things that you're regularly going to use, it will load them all. So if you've got, for example, let's say you've got an orchestral template where you are using one of the Spitfire, for example, orchestral libraries, and that's what you're using. So you're building a template based around that. Then whack on all of your EQ and compressors into that template. Create the effects chains first, store the effects chains, then just drag and drop them across all of your channels, save the template saved, then start working on your new template, and then just drag and drop the same effects chains. If you're going to use the same effects chains across several templates, that's really going to be the only way that you can do it. And that's probably the fastest way, rather than having to go, okay, I'm going to have to grab the EQ, going to have to grab the compressor, going to have to grab this, going to have to grab that, and do that every time. That's time consuming. Create the effects chain that you're going to use, store it, and then just drag and drop it from the effects chains folder straight onto your channels, and then save the template. Create the next template, do the same, just drag and drop, drag and drop, drag and drop from the effects chains section, and you'll be good to go, and you'll be building out your templates very, very quickly that way. Oh yeah, I missed Old School Funk and Soul, who is here. Sorry about that, but I'm glad you're here, and Peter Brooks is here as well. Awesome. I missed you guys coming in. Sorry about that, but I'm glad you're here. So I've talked a wee bit about that, and Rich has posted the notes for the scale: B, D, C, E, F, G sharp, and A. I'll give you a little insight as to what that sounds like. It does sound weird, trust me. It's dark with a capital D. It really is very, very dark sounding. Has quite a kind of oriental sound to it as well, so you can kind of bring that kind of aspect into it as well. But the idea is to make this very, very dark, very spooky, very atmospherically terrifying. That's the idea. It's Halloween, so when you're choosing your sound sources and you're thinking about how to create the piece of music, you want to make it sound mean, nasty, dark, scary, savage, all of those kind of things. So you can use all sorts of things. You can use distortions, you can use all sorts of timing effects, you can You can stretch audio, you can reverse audio, you can do whatever you want. But you got to use those notes. That's it, really. And it's going to be 90 seconds long. And that's it. When am I going to send out the challenge rules? They will be featured on this week's Songwriting Simplified show. And as I said, we'll put up the graphic in the community section as well. So you'll either want to be watching on Wednesday if you are able to. If not, you can catch the replay, or you can check out the graphic that will be in the community section of the YouTube channel. Let's see. Andy says, "Got to run, guys. Work calls. One day I'll be able to see a whole show." Good to hear you from. Yeah, Andy, it's been great to hear from you too. And thank you for dropping by. I appreciate it. Mike Johnson says, "I think an F minor would fit in that scale." Not really, because there's no A flat. You need an A flat, you need a C, you need an E flat. So it doesn't really belong. It will sound a bit weird. Well, I suppose you've got the G sharp there, but that B natural is going to clash badly. And you've got the major seventh there. And you've also got the A natural, which kind of goes against that as well. So those are kind of your crunch points. So yes, it will sound discordant, that's for sure. So the question you will want to ask yourself is, how bad or how ugly is that crunch? And is that crunch actually going to make you go, make you unsettled in a bad way? Or is it going to make you really connect with the music in a good way? Because, there's dissonance, and then there's something that just sounds grotesque and doesn't really work because the amount of dissonance is too much. So dissonance is something you have to be careful about. I mean, really, this is a subject for Songwriting Simplified, but dissonance is something you got to be careful about. It has to be carefully managed. Otherwise, you can make your listener just totally go away and say, no, that's just too much. And I guess, that's why some people like Schoenberg or Webern or Berg and their music, and some people go, that just sounds horrific. Or Berlioz, for example. Some of that 12-tone note row stuff from Schoenberg in the early 20th century. A lot of people were just like, no, this is not music. This is just noise. So obviously now, as we've progressed 100 years later, those kind of 12-note tone row ideas aren't actually too dissonant now to the modern ear. But so you got to think about how you balance dissonance. Some say dissonance should always be contrasted with consonance. Well, not always. But yeah, I mean, that's like way distorted because I'm hammering the keys very hard. Let me turn it down. That's probably too much on the dissonant level. Whereas if I did something like this, maybe that's not quite so bad. It's still quite dissonant. I'm playing a D flat major triad with an A in the bass, which gives you this kind of A major 7 with a sharp 5 kind of sound. And then I'm playing D with a D sharp in the bass. And then I'm playing an E major triad with an F in the bass. So those kind of sounds are quite good. I mean, they don't fit this particular scale, but those kind of sounds would be quite good. So you could certainly explore those kind of ideas. A triad with a completely different bass note that is quite, you know, far away from the chord itself. So you can experiment with those kind of ideas. Effects change easy to do. Yes, I kind of talked about effects change, I think, last week. But I can review that for you here. Let me just go and get a new song open. And I can show you how easy it is to create effects chains. All right, the first thing we need is to go over to here. And then the next thing we need to do is get a vocal or something. And we'll make this mono. And we'll stick that on there. And yes, I'm recording. Good. Okay. And then we'll get the mixer open with that button there. And so let's just grab some random plugins, shall we? Let's go and grab, let's say we, for weirdness sake, let's get a flanger in there. And then let's get limiter after the flanger. And then let's go and get a phaser after the limiter. Now, this is an effects chain nobody in their right mind would ever set up. But let's just say this is what we want. And we want to achieve a specific purpose. And we're going to use this at different times. I'm going to open this little tab here. And you'll see that I've got a few that I've created here. But let's just say this is what I really want to do. All right. So what we do is we click this little arrow here. And then we go store effects chain. And then we can select a subfolder for it. So I could put this in mixing. And I could call this bizarre. Complete misspelling of the word bizarre, but that's okay. And then we'll go okay. Now, you're probably wondering, what happened? Did it store? Well, let's go over to mixing and find out. There it is, right there. So now, let's go and we'll do remove all. And let's go and grab this effects chain and make sure that it works. Bingo! There's our effects chain. It works. It loaded in the plugins exactly as we want it to do. So once you've created your effects chain and you've stored it in this folder here for mixing, if that's what you're doing, or if you're doing mastering, then you could put it in the mastering folder. But whatever you want to do, you can set this all up here. And then when you create a template, you can just create all of your channels, all of your buses, whatever you need to create in your template. And then you can grab your effects chains here and just drag and drop them, just like I did just then. Okay? And then you can save that as a template. So if you're saving this as a template, you'd go save as template. And then this song would then open, you would have this as an option to create a new song with this template. And then all of those plugins and all of those buses and everything else that you created in the template will all load up. So if you know you're going to use this exact same effects chain in every template that you create, then it makes sense to create this effects chain. And then when you create the template, you just drag and drop it in across all of your channels. Now, if you've got like a dozen of these channels and you want this same thing to appear on all those channels, that's dead easy too. Let's remove this and let's add in another bunch of tracks. Let's go nuts. Let's go 31. All right. And then let's select the first. We'll hold shift. We'll scroll all the way over to the end. And now we've selected all of those channels. All those channels are selected. Now let's go and find our bizarre effects chain and we'll drop it into the first. Oh, I did the wrong one. That's the one I wanted. And there we go. That's now populated across all of those channels, just like that. So if you need to use the same effects chain across multiple channels or buses or across multiple templates, that's the best way to do it. Okay? So I am going to close this song. Although, should I? Because I think Danny had a related question. He said, what is the best way to add the same effects chain to several events? I end the chorus, need delays, a few sections. I could automate it, but was looking for an easy way. Okay, so I will close this song. So if you want to put a specific effect on a specific event, event effects is what you need to do. So let's say we want just those first two chords of the piano here to have a delay on it. All right, let's close the effects chains. All right, so let's go and grab a delay. Let's go for analog delay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over, but I'm not going to drop it just yet. I think I want to press Alt and that, or that's I think Option on a Mac. And see, it says add event effects. So I'm now going to let go of both these buttons, and that's going to add this delay to those two chords, to that specific event. And we will just use that preset. So let's solo the piano part. Okay, that kind of, what the heck happened there? Why did that not work? Try that again. I'm pretty sure I had that correct. Add effects. I don't want to do that. I want to add event effects just to that spot there. So I don't know why. There we go. So you heard the effect there, just applied to just that thing there. So if I go into the analog delay here, I can change this preset to, there we go, long and spacey. There we go. And then the rest of that is just as per normal. But see, for those two chords, we had the delay, and either side of it, no delay. So Danny, I hope that works. And then you can basically just, you can select multiple events. So if you have like a whole bunch of other cuts and different spots where you want to drop that in, you can select those events by holding Shift. So, and then you will be able to multiply select those events, but only those events that you click on, and then you'll be able to use the Alt key or the Option key and drag and drop, and the effect will only be applied to the selected events. Unselected events will not be affected. All right, so I hope that helps answer that question. Mike Johnson says, maybe I'm not fully understanding, but if you route all the channels you want those effects on, you send them to a bus, then automate the effects on that bus, maybe. Yeah, you can do it that way. Not necessarily maybe the easiest way to do it, but if you're wanting to drag and drop several effects to that same thing, I don't know, maybe can you do that? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Let's try it though. Same event there. Let's go for 8-bit analog. So now if I click here, we've got 2 effects. Now if you click on that, if you click on this little symbol here, you notice there's an option here to add an effect. So I can keep adding different effects. I can add a splitter or something, or I can add an effects chain if I want to. Or you can just keep on alt dragging different effects. So let's see what's happened to that bit now. Okay, so now we've got bit crusher and we've got analog delay on this piece of event here, but nothing added on any of the other events. Alright, so I hope that that answers that question. Neil says, I'm late. What are the topics of the day? I see an event effect has been applied. Yeah, I'm basically just answering questions, Neil, which is what this show kind of does, and I'm very, very hot and sweaty in here. But yeah, that's basically what this show does. I answer your Studio One questions, basically. So I don't want to do I don't want to keep that, so I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna undo all of that. And then I'm gonna unsolo that. And then I'm gonna save the song. And normality has been restored. Because this is my theme song. I can't have this ruin. Yeah, we can't have that ruin. Alright, so there we go. I hope that that has helped answer that question. It's a good one. Danny says... I guess I wanted to know, after I add the effects on several sections and then want to update the effects on all, do I need to do it individually? So when you've got those effects in, you notice if you clicked on that little icon at the bottom left corner of the event, where the event effects have been added, if you click on that, you will then see the different effects that are on that event, and then you can click on those, and that will open the editor for each of those effects, whatever they are, in your chain. Okay? Maybe we can go and change the song, maybe. Not that one. Or maybe we can do this with a new song. Maybe let's do this with a new song. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go new song. And let's open our Loops browser. And let's just grab this. Oops, that didn't work. There we go. All right, so let's chop this up a little bit. All right, so we've chopped this into several bits. So let's go effects. Let's go and grab the bit crusher. And what we'll do is we'll apply bit crusher to this event here. So we're gonna alt and drag to that one there. And then we are gonna, let's do that one there. We'll overdrive it a bit as well, just for funsies. And then let's say for this one, that's that event there. This one, we will, what we do, let's do a bit of beat delay. And I want to alt drag that there. Beat delay. Catch me if you can. And that'll do. And that'll do. All right, so let's say we decided that that gain was just a little bit too loud. See, I click on this little icon at the bottom, click on Bit Crusher. Now we can say, okay, maybe we shouldn't be overdriving it by that much. And yeah, I get that that's loud. It's because the rest of the audio either side of it's not very loud. Again, if we decide we don't want to do it that much. Now we've got the delay on there. All right, so this icon, you click on this, we go to beat delay here, and we decide, hey, let's just reduce the mix a bit. Let's reduce the feedback. So when we get into this section here, all right. So I hope that that helps you, Danny. I guess I wanted to update the effect on all. How do I do that? Yeah, you would need to do that on individual events. However, you should be able to copy. I don't know if you can. I've never actually tried this before. But let's say I want to apply this. Can I copy it? I'm not sure that I can. I don't see any way in which you can. I don't think you can. I don't think you can copy the settings. At least I'm not seeing anywhere that you can. There doesn't appear to be any. Oh, right there. Click on copy. So if I click on copy there, can I go and grab that bit crusher again onto this last event here and paste? Yes, I can. But let's say let's undo that. Let's undo this last event there. There we go. So I think what you can do is, if I was to, can I remove this? Yeah. Let's say I want to apply the bit crusher to this event and only those two events. Then Alt and drag. Now, did you see how the event effect has now been applied to both? Okay, let's go back to that 8-bit analog. All right, and then I can copy this, and then I can open this one, and I can paste. Ah, see? Those two events are now joined. So this one can get a crossfade as well. Okay, so that is how that would work. So if I go to this bit crusher, all right, and then we go over to this one here. This one's got 4, this one's got 7. All right, so there you go. I hope that helps. There you go, Danny. I hope that helps you. Some good questions there, folks. I'm just reading the chat, sorry. I didn't mean to just stop talking. I just totally was just like reading chat here. Neil Thompson says, also an idea, the effects you're using on the track, rather than using event effects, just put them as inserts on the channel as though you want to use them all the time. Then make automation tracks for bypass of each effect. That way, on alterations you make to the effects, they apply to all the times that they are on. Yes, you can certainly do that too. The automation bypass will switch the effects on off at any time you want to. There you go. So you can do it that way, or you can use event effects. It kind of depends upon which way you want to skin the particular cat that's in question here. But certainly that is definitely one way to do it. Danny says, I always learn from these. Well, Danny, I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you learn from these as well. I learn from these as well, because you guys ask great questions that sometimes I don't even know the answer to, and sometimes I have to just go, I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if that's possible, just like we did just then, where we could apply event effects to more than one event that is selected, and then we can make sure that both events had the same preset or the same adjustments made to them. It's quite easy to do. I mean, you could copy paste the settings from one to the other. Whoops. So it wasn't too difficult to sort out. But yes, you could certainly do that. And as we found out, you can stack effects on event effects as well. So in this particular case, we've got the bit crusher on those two events. But let's say we wanted to add something to these two events as well. So again, I hold shift, select those two events, and then let's say, oh, I don't know, let's just grab a flanger. Why the heck not? Flangers are cool. And then alt, and see how those selected events are now green? There we go. There we go. And then we'll just set that preset there. And then I can copy that, and I can close that. I can go and open this one. Oh, that's odd. It didn't copy. What the heck? What the heck just happened there? Where's the flanger? That was weird. Where's the flanger? Bit crusher. So, what happened there? Those are affected. Those are selected. So now this should, there we go. There we go. There it is. There it is. So set that to fast flange. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go over to this one and paste. Bingo. Both of those now have the same Settings. And there we go. We have just completely murdered that very nice piece of Fender Rhodes, but it's okay. Sometimes sound design is what you want. All right. Any other questions, folks? Any other questions? But those have been really, really great. Great? What? Willie's Watcher? No. Great. Those have been really great questions. My God. It is so hot in here. I am literally falling to bits. But yeah, I hope that that's very, very helpful for you. Brett says that's a neat little event effect. Yes, event effects are incredibly powerful, and I should maybe make a video that kind of explores event effects in a little bit more detail, where you don't have to kind of go, okay, where did that section on event effects happen in the live show? Maybe I could just like make a video on event effects and go, here, event effects, they're awesome. Use them, because they are awesome. Rock T says he's got a question above. Well, let me go see. Oh, there we go. Can you shine some light on the negative effect that the length of USB cables may have on quality or latency? Yes. Here's the thing. If you if your cables are long, then data has to spend more time traveling down those cables. And the longer time it has to spend traveling down those cables, going from a a keyboard to your computer, for example, then it is going to take longer time to travel down that cable, get to the computer, and that is going to inevitably create a little bit more latency. However, there's another important factor. If your cables are really long, like 40 meters long, or you've joined two 20-meter cables together, that's also going to introduce more latency and also the potential for dropped packets, dropped data packets, and dropped bits, which means basically that MIDI data can end up getting corrupted. And, you know, you'll end up with missing notes in your recordings, or if you're using expression controls, they may never make it to the computer. They may just simply get lost. And so you'll end up with data that is either out of time, is incorrect, or missing entirely. So if you can make the distance that the data has to travel down a cable this as short as possible, that's always going to be better. The other thing to bear in mind with USB cables, particularly DAWs like Studio One, try and connect the cable directly to the computer's USB bus. Don't put them on a hub, because data from something like a keyboard like this one needs to get into Studio One as fast as possible. It's fine for something like a flash drive or a USB SSD drive or a memory stick of some kind to be on a USB hub, or for your mouse or keyboard to be on a USB hub. That's fine, because those don't require a lot of high-speed data necessarily. Some SSDs will. So you want to make sure that those are connected directly as much as possible. But you can have them on an external, on a USB hub. But things like flash drives, they don't require high-speed transfer particularly. Mice and keyboards, computer typing keyboards, those don't require high data transfer. So there's no point in, you know, you can put those on a hub with no problem. But things like keyboards, SSD drives, you should probably connect those directly. In fact, keyboards, you should definitely connect those directly. Because if you don't, then you will incur more latency, because the cable is going into a hub, and then it's got to go through the hub, out of the hub's output port and into the computer. And that could actually provide a bottleneck. A USB hub can provide a bottleneck, because especially if your USB cable is a high-speed cable and then the USB hub thing is just not fast, then the data will go super fast and slow down and then super fast again. And so you can end up A, with drop data, and B, with lots of latency that you just cannot eliminate inside Studio One. Occasionally we get tech support tickets on those kind of things, and usually it's just a case of, we say, hey, if you got your keyboard controller connected to a hub, and they go, oh yes I have. I go, oh well, plug it into a free USB port directly on the computer, and they do that, and it resolves the problem. No more latency. So those are the things I would suggest. Ron says, I had some bad results with a 30-foot USB cable. Sounded like bacon frying in the audio. Later found out the spec is 15 or less. Yes, 15 feet or less, preferably 10 feet. 10 feet would be better. Brett Barlow says, I do like event effects. They add a lot to the party for transitions. Just got to be careful not to overuse them. For sure. Any effects can be completely overused. And you just want to be careful about that. He says, sadly, my MIDI port only has a USB connector, and my laptop doesn't have 3 USB ports, so a hub is needed. Yeah, you probably want to, with laptops, yes, I hear you. I hear you. If your laptop only has like 2 or 3 USB ports, then you're kind of in a little bit of trouble. However, there are solutions out there where you can get a USB hub that is fast enough. There are MIDI hubs that are specifically designed for MIDI data, and they will be fast enough. But yes, using a hub is not ideal because it will add latency. I mean, Mike says USB hubs should be fine. Not in my experience. In my experience, USB hubs add latency. So it's advised not to use them. And that is pretty much the end of the show. Mike has already launched his show. So if you want to join the after show conversation, then please check out the link to the show that the link to the after show Zoom that Mike has posted up. So you can certainly do that. Yeah, Mike says USB 3 can be 18 meters. Yeah, okay, so if you're using USB 3 or 3.1, or when it comes to it, USB 4.0, then yes, you will be able to use longer cables. All right, so with that said, folks, that is the end of tonight's show. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming and joining me on tonight's show. We will be back on Wednesday for Songwriting Simplified, where we will launch the 2023 Halloween Songwriting Challenge, for which, as I said, there will be a prize. So if you're interested in that, get back here 6 p.m. Central on Wednesday. Join me then. And until then, folks, it is absolutely tipping it down outside. I can hear it, so we're probably going to get some thunder. So until then, folks, I'll bid you all a very good night. Good night. Good night.